I need to start this by saying something very clearly because I already know how this sounds. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't digging through my wife's files out of jealousy. I wasn't suspicious. I wasn't looking for proof of cheating, lies, or some secret double life. I didn't have a gut feeling. I didn't have a warning sign. I didn't even have a reason. I trusted my wife. Completely, without hesitation, without backup plans. Without that quiet doubt people sometimes carry but never admit out loud. And that's exactly why what I found still doesn't feel real even now, months later, sitting alone and replaying it in my head. Because when you truly trust someone, your mind doesn't even consider certain possibilities. It doesn't imagine that the person you love could be quietly studying you, watching you when you think you're alone, recording your movements, your expressions, your tone of voice, taking notes on who you are when you don't know you're being seen. Your brain simply doesn't go there. But that's exactly where mine ended up. And the worst part isn't what she did. It's not the cameras. It's not the folders. It's not even the notes. The worst part is why she did it. My name is Daniel. I'm 34 years old, born and raised in the Midwest. I've lived a life so normal it barely feels worth explaining. No dramatic backstory. No wild phases. No secrets that would shock anyone. I work a regular office job. Nothing fancy, nothing illegal, nothing exciting enough to make for good conversation at parties. I sit in meetings, answer emails, complain about deadlines, and count down to weekends like everyone else. I'm the kind of guy people forget about 5 minutes after meeting me. Not because I'm unpleasant, but because I don't stand out in any particular way. I pay my bills on time. I go to the gym 3 times a week, mostly out of habit. I meal prep on Sundays because it saves money and mental energy. I don't drink much. I've never been in a physical fight as an adult. I've never been arrested. I've never even punched a wall in anger. If anything, people describe me as calm. Sometimes too calm. The kind of calm that makes people ask if you're actually okay. My wife, I'll call her Emily, used to say that was one of the reasons she loved me. She said I made her feel safe, grounded, stable, like nothing could spiral out of control as long as I was there. That irony still makes my stomach twist when I think about it. Emily and I were together for 11 years, married for 7. No kids yet, but we had been talking about it seriously for the past year. Not in a vague, someday kind of way, but in a concrete, planning sense. Looking at houses with extra bedrooms, running numbers late at night, talking about timing, schools, neighborhoods. From the outside, we looked like a healthy, boring couple. And honestly, from the inside, it mostly felt that way too. We didn't scream at each other. We didn't throw things. We didn't threaten divorce during arguments. Our fights were quiet, controlled, logical, almost polite, sometimes too logical. Emily was incredibly intelligent, organized, analytical. She loved lists, routines, and understanding how things worked. Systems fascinated her, not just mechanical ones, but people, patterns, behaviors. When we first met, I admired that about her. She remembered details about people. She noticed patterns others missed. She listened more than she spoke. I thought that meant she was emotionally mature. Looking back now, I realized she was always observing. There were little moments that didn't make sense at the time. Moments I brushed off because they didn't fit the version of our marriage I believed in. During disagreements, she would sometimes go quiet and just stare at me. Not angrily, not with contempt, just focused, like she was measuring something invisible. Once, during an argument about finances, I finally asked her why she was looking at me like that. She smiled, small and calm, and said, "I'm just thinking." I laughed it off. I shouldn't have. The night everything changed was painfully ordinary, which somehow makes it worse. Emily went out with a coworker after work. No drama. No tension. Just a casual plan she mentioned in passing. I stayed home, tired, half distracted, scrolling on my phone. My laptop had died earlier that day and I hadn't bothered charging it, so when I decided to watch something before bed, I grabbed her laptop instead. This wasn't unusual. We knew each other's passwords. There was no his or hers rule with electronics. Or at least, I thought there wasn't. I opened Finder to look for downloaded movies. That's when I noticed it. A folder that didn't show any preview, no icon image, no label color. It didn't look like anything else on the screen. It felt out of place. It was hidden deep enough that you wouldn't see it unless you were actually browsing system folders, clicking through out of mild boredom rather than intent. The name made my stomach drop instantly. It was my full name. First and last, seeing your own name on your spouse's laptop shouldn't feel like a threat, but it did. Immediately, instinctively. Like my body reacted before my mind could catch up. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was tax documents. Maybe it was something work-related. Maybe it was a surprise, a gift, a joke. I even smiled just for a second, trying to convince myself I was being paranoid. Then I clicked it. Inside were dozens of subfolders, all labeled with dates. Month, day, year, carefully organized, chronological, meticulous. They went back years. My heart started pounding, but I still didn't fully understand what I was looking at. I kept expecting it to make sense if I just opened the right file. I opened the oldest folder. Inside were two files, a video file and a text document. I clicked the video. The camera angle was wrong. Too still, too low. It took my brain a second to register what I was seeing, like my mind didn't want to accept it. It was our bedroom, and I was in the frame, sleeping. The timestamp read 3:12 a.m. I watched myself breathe, my chest rising and falling. My face relaxed, unaware. I watched for almost a full minute before Emily walked into the room. She didn't wake me up, didn't touch me, didn't say my name. She just stood there, watching. Not lovingly, not softly, just watching. Then she pulled out a notebook, wrote something down, and left. The video kept recording for another 20 minutes long after nothing else happened. I felt physically sick. I opened another folder, kitchen footage, living room footage, hallway footage, different days, different angles. Some cameras were hidden behind books. Some were inside plants. One angle looked like it came from a smoke detector. That's when it hit me fully. These weren't placed randomly. They were placed strategically, for coverage. Every video had a corresponding text file, short entries, clinical, emotionless. Written like observations, not memories. Subject displayed mild irritation after work call. No verbal aggression observed. Stress response within acceptable range. Reaction neutral. Reaction to what? I kept scrolling, continue monitoring. That word broke something inside me. Monitoring. I wasn't her husband. I was a subject. I found a document titled Risk Assessment. It listed things about me I had told her in moments of vulnerability. My childhood. My personality traits. My habits under stress. There were bullet points about my father. My dad left when I was a kid. Years later, he went to prison for assault. I told Emily that story once, years ago. I cried. She held my hand. She told me it didn't define me. Apparently, after that conversation, she started researching. The document cited articles, psychology blogs, Reddit threads, forums, topics like, can violence be inherited? When do men snap? Signs you're living with a latent abuser. She had highlighted sections, quoted comments, added her own notes. She had ranked risk factors as low, moderate, or high. I realized something terrifying. She wasn't afraid of me. She was afraid of a hypothetical future version of me. A version that existed only in her research. The most recent folder was dated 3 days before I found it. Inside was a single video. Emily sat directly in front of the camera. She looked calm. collected. Prepared, she said. If you're watching this, it means you found everything. She explained that she loved me, that she never wanted to hurt me, that she just needed to be sure, that she needed to feel safe. She said love didn't mean ignoring risk. Then she said something I will never forget. If he reacts with anger, it confirms my concerns. I heard the front door unlock. She was home. I closed the laptop and sat on the couch. When she walked in, she smiled like nothing was wrong and asked how my day was. In that moment, I understood something deeply unsettling. Anything I said, any emotion I showed, would become data. So I didn't confront her, I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I didn't ask why. I started packing quietly over the next week. When she noticed, she cried. She said she loved me. She didn't deny anything. She just said, I had to know. After I left, she emailed me articles, said I proved her theory wrong. But theories shouldn't destroy marriages. Now I'm alone in an apartment I never planned to live in, trying to understand how someone can claim to love you while never trusting you to be human. So here's my question. Would you stay with someone who loved you, but never trusted you not to become a monster?